Hello everyone! Today we watch people being entitled and ruin their neighbor's life, try to steal cars, go on hunger strike, do not return hundreds of dollars, and pretend to be disabled. Last video, I said that I really hope I could reach 40 subscribers, and I'm happy to report today it happened! That's unbelievable! And let's hope 50 subscribers will happen this fast as well. Let's go! My neighbor had two entitled teenagers that liked to steal or destroy my property. This happened in early 2000s. I was living the single mom life with 3 older kids. I was working full-time evening shift and my best friend would keep the kids for me. It was early fall and still mowing weather. I would always fill my lawnmower up and kept a 3-gallon gas full under my porch. My neighbors had 2 teens, a boy and a girl, that liked to bully the smaller kids in my neighborhood. I chased them out of my yard a few times when I'd catch them trying to get into my storage shed. Their dad had traded for them a 4-wheeler that they would constantly be on. After they got it, my gas can would mysteriously go empty every time I went to refuel. It didn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what was happening to it. Well, enough was enough. I went out and purchased an identical gas can, filled it with about 2.5 gallons of water, then added a half gallon of gas. You know, to give it the fuel smell still. I locked the real one on my back porch, but the bogus one went under my porch, then waited. Within a couple of days, the little brats were throwing a massive fit because their 4-wheeler was toast. Yeah, it sucked to be them. As I said, these little monsters enjoyed destroying other people's property. One of their favorite pastimes were tearing up Halloween decorations and smashing pumpkins. That year, I bought close to 20 pumpkins that would only get smashed on the street in front of my house. My kids were devastated. They also loved tearing up stuffed Scarecrow on the next door neighbor's porch. I managed to get together some old worn overalls, a straw hat, a ratty-looking long-sleeve button-up shirt. I stuffed it and set out on my porch on a Halloween day. I had asked my bestie to take out my kids trick-or-treating because I had a treat for the teen monsters and their friends. I waited till dark, shut off the porch light and brought in the Scarecrow. Put on the clothes and hat, painted my face and went back outside in the chair with a huge bowl of candy and a sign saying, "Take one, please." My best friend waited till I was settled, turned the porch light off and left with my kids. I had a few little Spider-Mans, princesses, ghosts and clowns come up and yeah, they would grab more than one, but not overly much. About half hour into my evening, I heard the brats coming up the road. They immediately started smashing the pumpkins and yanking down decorations. 3 of them ran up my porch, one grabbing the bowl, as the other 2 went to grab poor Scarecrow. Only Scarecrow, me, suddenly sat up with the deepest, harshest, loudest growl and grabbed one of the boys closest to me. I've never seen people actually fly before, but they were screaming like nobody's business running down the street. A cop pulls up less a minute later, says he had been getting complaints about these kids and was trying to catch them in the act, but he'd seen the entire exchange on my porch and he couldn't quit laughing. I didn't have much problem after that. I kind of let it slip. My house was haunted though. They moved within the next month or so after the boy got arrested for breaking into someone's house up the street. This is genius! Innocent, but so effective. Bravo! At first I was like, well, maybe frying their car was a bit too much, but OP didn't do it. They do it themselves, right? Fill in your 4-wheeler yourself and everything gonna be fine. Moreover, when the story ended with the boy actually breaking into someone's house, it painted the character even better. And I guess methods that were not as harsh simply wouldn't have worked. Entitled sister throws a fit over my van. After moving back from across country, I and my 3 kids were either taking the bus or paying for rides from my family and friends. My sister had a 15-ish-year-old size van that she offered to me for $500. I jumped on this offer as I was working the late shift and I wouldn't need to bother anyone for a ride 8 miles both ways. After getting the van legal and insured, I was able to drive it for 3 or 4 months. Then the front and axle breaks while I'm driving it. I was back to square one because getting it fixed would cost around $3,000 to $4,000 and I was living paycheck to paycheck. Since I lived in an apartment complex, I had to get it off the property within 30 days. I ended up calling a friend who scrubs the van and holds it off. My sister is driving by as they are loading it. I was at work and got a phone call from the sheriff's department saying my sister is accusing me of stealing her van. After I get back to my apartment, I get the van title, go to the police station where my sister is waiting. I also call my friend that hauled off the van. The sheriff starts in on me and then I just hang him the van title and the bill of sale. My friend then shows him the scrap sale papers and the VIN photo which proves I'm in the clear. Needless to say, my dear sister was threatened with arrest for wasting police time and false accusations. As I stated in the other post, I've been in no contact with her for almost 6 years. I don't miss her drama either. Honestly, I don't understand the logic here. What was the sister expecting? I would have understood if she sold the van to you without actually doing the paperwork, but it's not the case. Guys, what do you think? What was the logic here? Let me know down in the comments. When my sister went on a hunger strike to get out of doing chores. This story isn't so much about me as it is my dad trying to deal with my mother and sister. As many know here, my mother, evil mama bear, badly spoiled my sister while she was growing up. And not a lot my dad did was able to change that, which was one of the reasons for the eventual divorce. Though infidelity was the main one. I don't remember the details on this story as well, so I'll be pretty vague. But this was around, I think, 2002. My dad was home on this day off from his work and was trying to get my sister to do her chores because my mother would make me do them instead. On this day, my dad was making sister to do the dishes, and my mother openly tried to say that I should just do them. I wasn't at the house to see this part though, so the bulk of what I know is secondhand from my dad. My sister ended up having a tantrum and throwing a plate back in the sink, then flopped down on the floor to scream and cry. She was like 9 or 10 at the time. My dad grounded her for a few days for refusing to do chores, and so my sister declared that she would go on a hunger strike. And she actually did! For the rest of the day, she refused to eat anything and only came out of her room to use the bathroom. My sister actually refused food for 3 days before my dad caved. And it wasn't just her refusal to eat. My sister was bad-mouthing my dad at school by saying he wasn't feeding her. The school, though, if you can believe it, was well aware my sister lied a lot due to past experiences. My dad prepaid monthly for my sister to have hot lunches at the school, but my sister was refusing to get them. Kinda obvious you're lying if you're saying your father isn't feeding you when he's literally prepaid for you to eat. A couple of teachers who didn't know about my sister's BS tried to call and rip into my dad. But when he pointed out the facts, they apologized. My sister was made to see the school counselor, but they didn't get far with her. So in the end, my sister won because she refused to eat and my mother was going crazy on my dad about it. Eventually, my sister not doing many chores unless being punished was basically a norm. My dad could get her to clean her room twice a month, but other than that, she didn't really do much unless she was in trouble. And even then, she was usually just made to sweep and vacuum. Well, I guess the evil mama bear nickname was not a coincidence. Your poor dad, I'm glad he's not with her anymore. Also, I think there could be a chance that your mom was secretly feeding her sister. Maybe not, I don't know, but I think so. Landlord won't give my mom's friend deposit back. Yesterday afternoon, my mom's friend, we will call her Flower, got kicked out of her house she rents, but the landlord is really strict and accuses her and her daughter of everything like missing stuff, any crumb on the table or floor, to even if there's a single spoon in the sink, even if it wasn't even hers. My mom's friend is disabled, where she can't walk good, and mentally, it is hard for her to remember stuff and take care of her daughter. She's terrified they would take her daughter if she's asked for help. Even though we tried to convince her as it's getting worse, the landlord took advantage of this, telling her every month she didn't pay when she did because she calculated everything with pen or pencil before given to him and is reminded by the papers she uses. Even now and then, the landlord always threatened to kick her out because of her daughter playing and leaving toys out, or to even the girl talking to him to ask him questions. On to the actual story. Flower came by in the afternoon yesterday really mad, talking absolute gibberish to me and my mom before she come down and explained to us how the landlord kicked her out because her daughter spilled food on the kitchen floor. Let me say she has been dealing with this landlord for a few months and they have no written contract or anything signed. Flower was coming back from Mexico feeling secure they had a place already once they came back to California, and it was an oral agreement because she was in a hurry to look for any place that is in her budget. It was always problems to accusing her every day of random things around the house. Once the landlord kicked her out, my parents started helping move everything out while she asked for her deposit back. Then she left the room absolutely clean and just how it was before, not even a scratch on the wall or stains on the floor, but a single broken door knock that should cost not more than $60. The landlord refused, saying he wasn't giving it back and that she still owes for the knob and said it costed $500 to fix it. Flower and my parents were like, "Whoa, is this guy serious?" Flower said, "Of course not, I'm not paying $500 to replace a knob, but the $60 can be deducted from the deposit." The landlord refused and they left upset because Flower needs the deposit for another place she found and has no other money and was counting on that deposit. Flower did not know what to do, so she called the cops to file a report but was told they couldn't do anything about it and left. That's when I remembered from all the other Reddit stories about small claims and started researching about her certain problem and was able to get a number since she has photos when she first moved in to when she moved out, where she can ask for help or what to do so they can help her. We're hoping small claims are willing to do something about and help her. For now, we are waiting to see if Flower is going to go through small claims or not. In my opinion, I hope she does because the landlord to me is being very unfair and entitled. I hope I do come back with a good update about this. I sincerely doubt that small claims will work out with Flower since there is no actual paperwork to prove anything. But hey, what do I know? Maybe everything gonna be fine. But another thing is Flower having problems caring for her daughter due to her health declining, and I think that's what matters the most here. That's like the biggest issue of the story. Guy thinks he's entitled to handicapped parking. About a year ago, my mom and I were coming home from a long road trip, and we were about city away from our house, so about 2 hours. We were hungry, so we stopped at a Wendy's drive-thru. Well, while we are waiting at this huge line, this guy comes speeding into the parking lot, which is basically empty, and parks in a handicap space, where there are at least 20 other non-handicap spaces. We look at this license plate, and it's not new, there is not sticker on there. We look through his windows from our car, and there is no tag hanging from his rear view window. Then this 20-something guy gets out with a car full of other 20-something guys, none of which seem to be having any trouble walking, and start heading for the inside. My mom rolls down her window and shouted, "Hey, those spaces are for people who, are handicapped." And the driver turns back, flips her the bird, and keeps walking. Well, my mom wasn't having any of this, so she has me call parking enforcement and has me take a picture of his car. Well, parking enforcement comes, and instead of giving him a ticket, the officer had him towed. Well, this 20-something driver comes running out, swearing on his mother that his best friend is handicapped and he just forgot the tag. And one of the guys who had no trouble walking earlier comes out very dramatically limping. Well, the parking officer looks into the records and surprise, surprise, none of them are handicapped. or even related to anyone handicapped. They both got tickets, as well as the main dude getting his car towed. My mom and I were sitting in our car eating our food, watching this whole thing go down, thinking it was hilarious and karma. Just a friendly reminder, don't park in handicapped spaces if you are not handicapped. I mean, everything in this story is great. Meal? Delicious. Free entertainment to watch while you're eating? Amazing. Also, here are the links to more Reddit videos on my channel. Check them out. Thank you for watching and subscribe for more. Bye!